So, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone. It is actually Thursday morning, and yes, I'm off schedule, but I really wanted to stop by. First of all, I say good morning. I hope that you woke up refreshed. I hope you woke up realizing that today is a new grace and today is a new mercy. And if you woke up and you're breathing the fresh air, I just need to remind you that God has got you. This is the love of God, being able to breathe and have your being, have your movement. It is the love of God. And so this morning I just wanted to stop by um, and just tell you that God is amazing, right? God is so amazing. Yesterday was yesterday. What happened on yesterday, that was yesterday. Give God an opportunity and give him a chance to allow victory and grace and mercy and all the wonderful blessings come your way on today. So again, like I said, I know it's early. Thank you guys for jumping on. Thank you for the love. Let me just start with this scripture, this passage of scripture. And y'all know me, I don't never come on trying to be deep or anything like that. But when things fall in my spirit or when God gives me something, I use my platform to share. So I really wanted to share this passage of scripture. And it is Isaiah 40 and 31. And it said, but those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like an eagle. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. I know y'all know the scripture, and I'm not even going to try to pull it apart. I just wanted to remind you today to wait on the Lord, right? I know it's taking God a long time. If it was me, I would expect it to be done the same day that I asked the Lord. But God has a whole total different plan, right? And you know how the scripture said that God's ways is not our ways, but I'm learning to learn things in the process of what I'm going through. Okay, God, this today, all right, God, you move this person out of my life and you move this person in my life. Oh, okay, God, you blessed me with this today. Okay, and then I'm gonna have to wait on that tomorrow. So I'm just learning the things that God is doing for me throughout the process of this week. So what I wanted to share the fact that, hold on, let me fix this. So I wanted to share the fact that God is a keeper, right? So on this day, it is April the 4th. And I think about last year, I was in the process of packing and moving, right? I know some of you heard the story, and then some of you haven't heard the story. I'll just share a little bit. So my landlord that I had last year, I guess he was going through something else with his person, and he sold the house. He sold the house that I was living in, the place where I had finally thought that I found stability. Everything was going good. Everything looked like it was God. I mean, God just set me up so that I was like, okay, God, this is your will. And I sat back in it and I got comfortable, just not realizing that one day things may change. And so things changed for me. April the 4th, April the 5th, things changed for me from where I was living comfortably. He sold the place. And when he sold the place, it gave me 2 weeks to find out where I was going to stay. And I was just like even packing the house, like, God, how are we gonna do this? I don't have any money. You told me to come off my job. You said that my business would sustain me. And God, I'm doing what you asked me to do. This doesn't make sense to me, but I knew that God was making me walk through this faith thing. And here's the thing: when you learn or when you go through a process of trusting God, you need to really make sure that your community is trusting God with you, right? You need to make sure that the community that is with you believes or trusts in the God that's inside of you, right? Because if not, you will literally have a buck and it will cause your faith to waver, right? And so throughout this process, my faith wavered. Not, I won't even say it. I don't even know if it was me. It was the opinions of others, the voices of others. And so in this process, I was up and down like a roller coaster, right? And so I packed up my stuff, and I think I was out by April the 5th, right? It was a very, thank you for the love. It was a very depressing moment for me, right? Because I didn't see God, right? Spiritually, I knew God had me. One minute I was up, one minute I was down. Could some people may be able to say that I was double-minded because I wasn't sure. Like I literally was stepping out on faith. And um so when that happened, I had to go back home. I had to go back to Seaford where my all of my family is. Um and also that was a place where I lost my son. And I was like, like going back to Seaford for me was like forbidden ground. I made a vow to myself, I'm not going back to Seaford simply because for me, Seaford was a place of lullaby. Seaford was a place where I felt like I worked so hard to get out of the system. I worked so hard to get out of that place. And that was my mindset of what I thought. But all in reality, I was running. I ran before God completed the work that was inside me. And then I conditioned in my mind that this was the reason why I was leaving this place. God is so amazing. And so now looking at my process, I kind of was like Elijah, had great victory in an area, and something happened, and I ran. And I ran up north for 15 years. And it was amazing opportunities. I found myself, I developed my own personal relationship with God. I met new people, all of that. And I just was stable. I felt like I just was mentally, physically stable. And then for God to uproot me, right? And send me back. And so this week, I'm looking at this week now. You know how you have in your Facebook thing memories that come up and remind you of certain things. And when I left, the Lord told me to just give. And so I started giving away. We put prayer in the atmosphere. We brought some leaders together that prayed in the atmosphere. We fed the homeless, and we did so much up on this end. So I had to come back to Delaware, and it has now on tomorrow. It has been a year, and so I just wanted to share just some of my experiences with you within this year. And listen, my testimony is not someone else's testimony. And if you know anything about me, I'm not going to fix my testimony up so that someone else can feel good or someone else can feel great. I'm not going to do that. I ain't fit to do that because it was my process. I was the one that experienced it. I was the one that went through it. And I'm quite sure if God got me up this morning, that there is someone else who has experienced the same thing or going through the same thing. And I just want you to know that I'm living witness. I'm proof that God is a waymaker. I'm proof that God is a provider. I'm proof that God will keep your mind in perfect peace when it's stayed on Him. Now let me tell you something. I'm not seeing. I'm not saying I didn't come on today to say, oh, I got a new house. No, none of that happened. No. None of that has happened yet. But throughout my process, that year's process, I learned about me. I learned about people who call themselves your support. I learned about people who call themselves, pushing you and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes people can be feeble. People can be wishy-washy, and it's okay because when God has got you in the process where He's wanting you to trust Him, He will snatch all ground around you that you may think was your stability. He will snatch them. He will snatch them, rather it's them wanting to be snatched or rather it's Him, right? Because if He's trying to show you that He is amazing, if He's trying to show you that He's got you, If he's trying to show you that he is your provider and what you're praying for, he will make a way. He's gonna set it up. Listen, God is so amazing that he will set it up where at the end of the situation, you won't be confused. You won't even think that it was somebody else. You'll know that it was God. And so in this process, I've learned so much. I learned so much about me. I learned that I still had unforgiveness in my heart. Some things that people did to me, they never made it right, right? And God put me in those people's place, in those people's faces where I had to deal with situations. I had to deal with mood swings. I had to deal with character assassination. You know, when people say that you feel one way and you don't feel that way, I had to deal with that. And in it, God caused me to keep my mouth. Because listen, Cheryl, I can be a woozy. I'll be the first one to tell you, like, I can be a woozy. I can be stubborn, but throughout this process, and I'm only talking about just this year. This year, God has caused me to keep my mouth closed. This year, God has been some areas where God has caused me to open up my mouth. And I realized that not everybody has the same faith that you have. If God says something and it doesn't look right to them, people will speak on it. You got to know that you know that you know that you know that you know, right? You got to know that it's God. And you got to know that you are capable of hearing God's voice for yourself. And God has taught me all of that. Listen, within this 1 year, there were, and I'm very transparent, in this 1 year, there were moments when there were suicidal thoughts, right? And I still was coming live. I still was encouraging. I still was, was motivating and inspiring other people. And I literally was in this dark whirlwind myself. And it seemed like nobody seen it, or people seen it and kept walking past. I don't know. It's hard to say because people, like I said, people can be wish-washy, but this was in this year. This all was in just this year, from last year into now, today. And there was moments when I had major breakdowns. I'm not even a crier. I've had major breakdowns. I went in the woods and I hollered and I screamed and I told God I didn't trust him. I told God I was so mad with God. I was like, how dare you, God, put me in situations like this when I'm helping everybody else. And I said, God, I don't get it. And I would get my cry out and I would get back up and I would do the work of God. Right. I would still do what God told me to do. This was in this. I need you guys to really get this. This was in this year. There were things that people did to me. There was things that people said to me in my low moment, in my moment of not being able to do the things I'm used to doing. I couldn't do it. I just, I didn't have the strength. I didn't have the will. And I said, God, how can you have me here and people know that I need help and they act as if nothing happened? But as time went by, I realized that that's the way your walk is supposed to look, right? Because when God has got you, that means you died. That means your opinion about yourself, your opinion about your situation has died. And I literally, every single moment, every morning I woke up, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was going to look like because God told me to come off my job, right? And my business did sustain me. I was able to go to the mall, take my business into the mall. So that was a great victory. That was a great victory. Throughout this year, you all know that my favorite car, my Crossfire, I was riding along, and just before that, I think I had a depressing moment where I was about to give up. I went to the gas station, put gas in my car. I seen a leader, an older leader. I went outside and I ran to her and I said, "Can you pray for me?" I'm having suicidal thoughts. Can you pray for me? I don't know what's going to have nothing, right? I literally, I was so broken. I've never been so broken as I've been this year. I promise you. This is not a sad story. It's not. I never in my life, I don't even think, yeah, I've never been this broken in my whole entire life. And so I ran outside and asked her, can you pray for me? She began to pray for me. She began to intercede for me as if it was her. She began to talk with me, and she began to tell me about some of her moments. Some of her moments sound like some of my moments, which gave me hope to let me know I wasn't the only one that was going through. I wasn't the only one that dealt with depression. I wasn't the only one who was in a battle, a warfare, and people did not see. Like God had me so set up where people did not have a clue, or nor did they remember that I was going through. And so she interceded for me, and I cried and I prayed and I said, God, I need you to help me. I need you to open up my eyes. I need you to open up my understanding so I see what's going on, not realize that I'm really in a good place. And it's the enemy's job to make you feel like you're not where you really are. And so at that moment, God shook me and God brung me in. I felt his love. I really honestly did. I got in my car and I headed back to where I was going at my daughter's house. And I got on a country road and I'm driving. My car is so small, but I was driving and all of a sudden I hit a patch of water and my car hydroplaned. It slid on the water and they said that my car went airborne into a ditch. I could not believe it. On top of everything that I'm already going through, now I've lost my car that's fully paid for, that I know that God gave to me. So many questions. So many questions I had for God at that moment. And on to top it all, to realize that my car only had liability. It wasn't even full coverage, so they wasn't even going to pay for my car, right? And so now I had to make a decision: are you going to keep it, or are you going to release it? And I made a decision to keep my car, because I know God gave it to me. I knew he gave it to me. And so I went through that. Some other things happened, I won't share, but some other things happened that devastated me, literally devastated me to the core. And I realized that the devil wasn't playing with me. He was not going to allow me to go through situations and it be space between. He constantly hit me just like this throughout the whole year, right? But I just wanted to just share that throughout that whole year, I never lost anything. I never lost it. There were people who stood in the gap. There were people who helped me with my storage, took care of my storage. There were people who stepped in, allowed me to keep stuff in their storage at their house. You know, at this moment, I'm like, God, what are you doing? I've got stuff all over the place. I've got stuff in Salisbury. I've got stuff in Seaford. I've got stuff in Dover. So my stuff is all over the place. And I'm like, God, what are you doing? And this has literally been a humbling experience, and he still expected for me to show up. And so I share that with you. No matter what it is that you're going through, no matter what it is you're experiencing, and no matter what anybody is saying, no matter what you're experiencing mentally, you are still expected to show up and to do your part. As I do God's work, he'll take care of my work. So you may be asking God to work out some things. You may be asking God to show you some things, to tell you some things, to be there, to be present in the moment. I just come to remind you that he is present in the moment, right? And even when it seems like people are not there, I just want to remind you, beloved, there's no way that you are going through this process on your own. It's someone out there who's praying for you. It's someone out there who's covering for you. It's someone out there who's speaking to God on your behalf, and you may not see them. But there's no way that you're surviving on your own. There's no way that you are making it through this process without someone covering you, especially if you aren't praying yourself, especially if you are not praying yourself. So within this year, within this whole year. Today is the 4th. Tomorrow makes a whole year of me being in this experience. And God humbled me to the point where I went back to my daughter and I was on my granddaughter's bunk bed, on the bottom bunk bed. And every night I cried. Every night I was emotional. Every night I wept. And I could not understand what God was doing. And every morning that I got up, I felt different. I felt better. Every moment I got up, I didn't know what direction I was going to go, but God had me available for if there was ministry or if ministry called, I was able to be there. No job was holding me up. No person was holding me up. But every single night that I laid my head down on my grandbaby's bunk bed, I cried. And listen, and my grandbaby loved it. She loved the fact that I was there. And I was like, God, I don't know what it is you're doing. I don't. I cry. Listen, this weight was so heavy, I couldn't pick up the phone and really tell people the intensity of what I was really going through. I couldn't pick up the phone and really share, like, I'm overwhelmed right now. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I'm going to make it through this process, because guess what? When people seen me, they did not see the process. They seen the God that was carrying me through the process. And God was trying to get that in my head, as in to say, Shell, it's not this that you're going through. It's not about you. I'm trying to mold you. I'm trying to fix something in you. I'm trying to strengthen your faith. I'm trying to restore you. I'm trying to shake you up. Now, spiritually, I seen what God was doing, but that natural part of me, I ain't see God do jack. I didn't see it. And then I had to remember, Shall, you woke up in new grace. You woke up with new mercy. Today is a new opportunity for God to fix it. Today is a new opportunity for God to work it out, right? And so now, standing a whole year, tomorrow will be a whole year, but almost a whole year. What did God do? He didn't allow me to lose my mind. What did God do? He renewed my strength. What did God do? He restored my spiritual walk with him. What did God do? He healed my inner man, because there were some things that happened in Seaford that some people didn't say that they were sorry for. There were some things that happened in Seaford that I literally had to face. There were some challenges in Seaford that I had to come back to and walk through that process, so that the healing could be completed. There were some people I needed to forgive. There were some people I needed, some things, situations I needed to let go, right? And there were some giants, some bullies that I needed to stand in front of and be okay, and not feel intimidated by that giant, not feel intimidated by the words of people. Because here's the thing, when you go through your situation, most of the time when people open up their mouth and talk, you really listen and you really use discernment, you can really find out where people really are, how people really feel concerning you, how people really feel about you, right? Get that. If you don't get anything, get that part, right? And when you're going through your process, my father always said he listens to what people don't say, right? So by the action of people, by what people verbally say in front of people, you'll know where they really are concerning you. Don't get upset. Don't get depressed. Don't cry about it. Just use that, mark that in your notebook of, okay, all right, okay, this is how they really feel. Oh, they really want me dead. Oh, they really don't like me. And if you feel something in your heart, it's for you to work on it. If you felt any kind of way about what someone said, about what someone did, if it ruffled your feathers, or if it put steam behind your ears, if it pissed you off, don't focus on them. Focus on what you feel, and make sure that your heart, your mind, and your spirit is in alignment with God. Because guess what? At the end of this process, you're going to be the one that be blessed. right? You're going to be the one that's going to reap the benefits. But when you reap the benefits, you want to make sure that you no longer go through this process again. So, my testimony for my whole year's experience, and like I said, so many other things have happened in this experience, but I'm grateful that I went through it. I'm grateful that God gave me the strength and He showed me that I'm stronger than what I thought. Listen, when those memories came up in Facebook, I cried. I cried. I was so emotional because I pretty much lost everything and I lost me. And that's a good thing. That's not anything bad. But in this whole year, I lost me. I lost how sometimes you put people on pedestals and this person is going to be here for me. This person to be over. No, sometimes people are there for a season and then they have to go. And you got to be okay with when they leave. It doesn't matter what excuse they use. It doesn't matter what they tell you. God say, I can't do this no more. Or I was, it don't matter. Let them go. I said that the other day. Let them go. Because where you get ready to go and what you're getting ready to walk into, the surrounding, the people that's going to surround this new place is going to be so amazing. Listen, I got some things that God is working on now, and He's showing me that He's got me. Even concerning the place, He's showing me that He's got me. He's got me. And sometimes you may think you're getting ready to step into this place and this is going to be a place of stability. But when you put your foot out there, you see that the ground is kind of a little shaky. You pull your foot back. Don't you step out there, because that ain't for me. For you, it's not for you. You know how they say, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. And even if in your standing still, the place where you're standing, it may be uncomfortable. The place where you're standing, you may see nothing but the fiery darts of the devil. The place where you're standing, you may hear nothing but criticism. Stand there until God comes through for you. Listen, I say stand there until God comes after you. Oh, yes. Just stand there because He's coming after you. God's coming after you. He's coming. He's God. I promise you, God is coming after you. And the scripture said He may not come when you want it, but He's right on time. And when He comes after you, baby, He's going to bring some gifts. When He comes after you, He's going to bring some spiritual gifts for you. He's going to bring some tangible gifts for you. I still trust God. At this moment, I don't have anything. I do. I do have things, but I'm seeing something that I like. I want my own place. I said I could understand if I got kicked out. I can understand. I can understand if my landlord just said, you know what, Meshell, we don't want you here no more. I can understand that. I can understand every bit. But this situation, I couldn't understand. But here's the thing, when God is trying to strengthen you, when God is trying to get you a blessing, when God is trying to get you to a new level spiritually, when God is trying to renew your mind, and when God is trying to work on your heart, He'll shake up everything concerning you. And it's not always a bad thing. It may feel like it's a bad thing, but it's not always a bad thing. I literally seen God move. I never was without money. I didn't have the money I wanted, but I never was without money throughout this whole process. Right. I probably had more money in this process than I did when I was working. So I trusted God, and I seen God move for me. I seen my enemy. I seen my enemies. I seen me. I seen my unforgiveness. I see my bitterness. I see my rage. I seen where I tried to worship God and I knew that the person I was worshiping God with didn't like me, didn't care for me. And I seen the strength that God gave me to be able to endure the pain. I'm talking about pain as I was going through the process. And I was grabbing people close to me, thinking that these people were with me, when really, in all reality, I was pulling my enemy close in my weak moment, in my moment of vulnerability. I'm pulling my enemy close just because I felt like I needed somebody. You don't always need somebody. And then guess what? Here's the thing. And when you do need somebody, God will send the right people. So within this year, within last year, actually, I was getting calls from New Jersey and from Philly to be able to be a vendor, which was bringing me income, which was allowing me to meet new communities, which was allowing me to meet new people. And I don't know what they seen. I don't know what they seen out of me because I was broken when I was doing it. I had nothing when I was doing it. I didn't know whether I was going to make it or not when I was doing it. But God kept allowing me to show up for me, to show up for myself. So what are you saying, Shell, in the middle of this testimony? I'm saying show up. Just show up. Just God, let God work out all of the rest. I should be crazy right now. I literally should have lost my mind because y'all don't know about the other stuff. And I promise you, I'm going to come out with my story. And listen, and my victory may make other people uncomfortable, but they'll be all right. My deliverance, it may make other people uncomfortable, but they'll be okay. Because here's the thing. Because people have choices. They can choose to help you. They can choose not to help you. Most of the time, y'all, I'm sorry, I didn't see your comments. I'm so sorry. But most of the time, people choose not to help you. Or they'll say, I really wanted to do, but the Lord, I couldn't touch it. Come on. Come on. But then you see them bless the person right next to you with the same thing that they said they couldn't do for you. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But God will make sure that you see that. And if you feel anything inside of you, just like I forget who it was, the prodigal son. When the prodigal son went out and splurged and spent all his money, da 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 da. The older son, because here's the thing, people overlook the older son. The older son all of a sudden had a spirit of jealousy because he was saying, well, I've been here the whole time. You overlooked me. You forgot about me, right? Y'all can try to play spiritual all y'all want to. It's a real thing, especially when you've been there the whole time and you've been working and you sacrificing you this in that moment. You feel because you're human. And if you're not feeling right, then God's saying, I'm coming after that too. I'm coming after that too, because you should have enough a surety that I got you. You should know that I'm not going to overlook you. People may overlook you, but I'm not going to overlook you. And I had to get to that place in this middle of this year, dealing with lupus. Yeah. I mean, there's so much. I'm talking about within this year. I'm dealing with another, I don't want to call it a disease, but I can never pronounce it. But the doctors diagnosed me with something called I can't pronounce it. But anyway, it's when your bones tighten up. I mean, your muscles tighten up. Baby, throughout this year, it was so many moments I could not move. I could not get out of the bed. My body was aching so bad. I remember being rushed to the hospital 3 times within this year. All it is was packed up in this year. Stress, anxiety. And I got rushed to the hospital a couple months ago. And when I went there, they were telling me that my kidneys, I was in the red zone for kidneys, my almost kidney failure. I had no idea. I have no clue that I was about to be dropped into. So I stayed in the hospital for 7 days. I was in the hospital before. I think in July, I stayed for 7 days, and I'm out there helping everybody else. I'm out in the streets serving the homeless. I'm doing all this good work, and here I'm overlooking myself. So I learned within this year to show up for Shell, because people are not gonna show up for you, right? To be okay in the moment, because people are not gonna look out for you. Listen, here's the thing: they will look out for everybody else but you. And and sometimes people expect for you to be strong in your weak moment. If you don't have it, You don't have it, and it is okay. If you need a break, if you need a breather, the church ain't gonna tell y'all that. Your pastor might not tell you that. I might not be nobody, but somebody who has went through the process, I'm gonna tell you that. There are moments that you need to pull back and get yourself together. There are moments that you are dealing with foolery that people do to you. You need to get yourself together. I'm sorry. I can't keep operating like I got it to go. No, you piss me off today. I need to move back. I need to get myself together because I need to have the right mindset so that I can serve you properly. So listen. So on today, on April the 4th, my testimony is still that God is amazing. I did not lose my mind. I did not commit suicide. I made it through all of the health scares. I made it through the anxiety. I made it through the pain. And God did provide. I'm still waiting on a house, but God has provided. And I've got like another week where I'm waiting for a call that something may come through. And my prayer was, God, I just don't want to settle. I want to be where you want me to be at because I want to really feel stability. And he said, you've been praying for stability. I'm giving it to you. Stability in your mind, stability with your heart, in your love walk, stability in your spiritual walk. He's giving me what I asked for. So I hope that you guys understood at least half of what I share with you. And I hope and pray that you all have an amazing day, have an amazing rest of your day, and do it on purpose. And just show up for yourself in whatever way that looks. And people may not understand. I know y'all saying she's taking a lot of photo shoots. That ain't for y'all. That's for me. That's for me to remind myself that even though you may feel like you're going through a crucial moment right now, even though you feel like you've lost everything, I still need you to see yourself in the light that I see you. Woo, almost went in the spirit realm on that. God is wanting us to see ourselves in the light of how he sees us. And I'm grateful for the people that God did put in place where people was like, I heard the Lord spoke to me and told me to sow a seed. The Lord spoke to me and told me to bless you with some gas money. The Lord spoke. This is how I've been living. This is how I've been living within this year where God has been speaking to people. And those ones that follow through has been a blessing to me. Yeah. I called one leader beginning of the year and I cried. I think I might even cussed on that phone with her. Sorry for y'all deep folks, but I was going through so bad. This was in the beginning stage, and I didn't know what God, and I knew I couldn't leave God. I knew I couldn't. I knew I couldn't come out of salvation. I knew because if I had lost God, I wouldn't have had anything. I would have been crazy. And I got on that phone and I hollered, I screamed. I was at one of the lowest moments I could have ever been. And to think about that moment to where God has me now, I'm grateful that I experienced it. I'm grateful because it makes me sensitive to other people who are going through. It makes me sensitive to other people who don't understand what they're. Listen, let me tell you something. When you go to us, I don't care what anybody else said, but when you go to social service and social service tell you they can't help you, and then when social service tells you you don't have an address of your own, you're homeless, that was a punch in my face. That was a punch in my face. To tell me, and you got to be careful what gets put into your spirit, right? I can understand you explaining to someone, but when you know it wasn't your fault, I'm sitting in social service asking them for help, and inside is just tore up because I'm feeling like I shouldn't even have to be here. It was God. God was breaking down my pride because I never was an individual. I wouldn't ask you for no help. Not that I thought I was better than you, but I just kind of felt like I just didn't want to deal with rejection. Somebody hearing your whole story. This happened, that happened. I don't have it. And then for them to personally make a decision or to personally make a choice, whether they're going to help you or not, and then they say no, they can't. That's devastating. That is so devastating. But God kept my mind. I would get in my car and I would ride. I had moments where I would ride from Virginia to Dover or Virginia to Middletown, just riding so that I would not lose my mind. And I'm listening to my music and I'm listening to God. God's trying to talk to me. I'm trying to talk to me, and the devil's trying to talk to me. But I made it. I survived the hit. And so I said, when God releases me to be able to preach this, oh, listen, when he gives me moments like this to be able to encourage, I don't care what anybody says. There's no one can shut me up. There's no one can shut my voice up. There's no one, there's no one that can tell me how to tell my testimony because I am the one that walked through it. I am the one that's standing in the middle of it. And I am the one that has been through the pain. So you just will get ready to be sick of me and get sick of my testimony because I survived it. Like I said, tomorrow is the 5th. And shame on you if you wasn't there. But I ain't mad with you. You chose not to be there. You chose not to help. I'm not mad with you because God knew what he was doing. And guess what? It was God that tied up your hands so that you couldn't help. You can use spiritual back meanings or whatever, because if you can do it for others, you can do it for who you choose to do it for. And it's all good. And so I just say, I'm grateful that I survived the hit. I'm grateful that I lived to tell the story, and I'm going to tell the story. And I'm grateful. So things have changed in the heavenly. I haven't seen too much of a change in the natural, and that's only because I'm looking for a house. But I didn't lose anything in this process. I lost people, but I didn't lose anything. I walked into a storm, and walking out of this storm, I'm walking out with more than I came in with. So you guys have an amazing day. Do it on purpose and trust God in this process.